Ladies and gentlemen, if you're like me, you enjoy watching chess videos with analysis and commentary to see, blunders, funny moves, drama, learn tactics, positional play, etc. Um, and just a little backstory. So I had risen about 300 points from the 500s to around 900 on chess.com in just 2 months. Then I sort of hit a little bit of a wall around 900 recently, past couple weeks. Drifted back down, almost lost 100 points. So I was going through my matches, my matches from that last couple weeks, and going through them and seeing on the losing ones and the draws what did I have big advantages and things like that. And there were some really dramatic and funny ones, and ones where I had mate a bunch of mates and didn't and missed them. But anyway, this one in particular stood out. And it's pretty cringy to be showing this as an example. I want to say that I don't generally play like this, and you know, especially the opening in particular is not what I normally play. But let's go ahead and get started. I'm playing OM Grani Baby, OM Grani Baby from 842 from the U.S. They came out with the Queen's Pawn, and at this time I had been, I'm not doing this anymore, but I had been sort of doing this E6 D5 opening with the black. And then you sort of get boxed in here, but it can be good defensively. I've been doing a little more of the Caro-Kann lately. One thing with the being around the 700s and even now up in the 800s, a lot of people do these aggressive queen attacks and they're really annoying. And sometimes this can be helpful to stunt it. But it's the one thing I detest about the lower levels of chess. And I'm hoping it's not this way when I get above like 1,000, that half the people come out aggressive with their queens in various ways. Anyway, so I did that, and they came back with that, and I was taken aback a little bit. So the point here is, if I take here, they take with the queen, and then they've got this queen in the center that I've got to deal with right off the bat, and it's just such a pain in the ass. This is what I said about the people on this level. They do this. So I said, not today, and move the pawn up there. Now, that's not in most chess books that you should move one pawn 2 times before you move any other pieces, but they brought out the white pawn, the c4, filling up the white squares, taking space. I start building a dark pyramid of pawns here. They complete the 4 Chinese wall on the white pieces, pawns. I decide to bring the horse over here. This one can't come out here. I could have developed this side. I could have developed the bishop first. I think I was spying possibly this square, but blocked in the bishop. This bishop sort of blocked in. Not again. This is a kind of a cringy match, and not my best. But they kept up with their pawn building. I kept up with my pawn building. Sort of like, you do that, I'm going to do this. I can do you one better. I'm doing the same thing. I don't know. They brought out a bishop finally. I kept up with the pawns. I think I was thinking, block that guy from even getting to here, but this was protected with that. So I'm on all the darks. They're on the whites. They brought another pawn. I brought another horse to the middle because I had blocked a thing there. Now, sometimes you do like this, but generally it's better if like one horse is normal and then the other one's in the middle. Then they can work together. This is a little bit harder now. Both my bishops are blocked in. Now, they moved another pawn. Now, I think what Gotham would say here with a lot of this is, we're not playing checkers, we're playing chess. So there is no reason to get all your pawn onto every color there. You have a whole bunch of other pieces that can do different things, that not just checkers, not just trying to get capture. But they are, I will say, they are capturing space. So now I said, I'm going to start springing my plan into motion. No, I don't know. I think I just said, well, I got to move something. And I think I thought that, and I got to start creating space. So move that one out there. They kept up with the pawn, putting me under pressure. So I moved it up here, and apparently they're way ahead here. They may have had this. They may have had this horse trapped, but I was basically offering this as a sacrifice, not a sacrifice, as a swap, as an exchange. And they took the exchange. So at least I said, well, I'm clearing up a little room. I got a pawn up here. So far I've developed a horse, and we've each developed another piece that got wiped off the board. So it's just a bunch of pawns. They brought their horse out this way instead of here saying, ha, I'm going to get you. And I said, not today, and pushed my pawn. So basically forcing the take there and the doubling up, which they did. So now this horse, when it is here, and when this is like this, I mean, in general with the knights, if the pawn is there, it's a great square to move to because it blocks, it's protected, so to speak, and it stops the pawn from advancing. So here I moved here. Now I'm like, oh, I can move my white bishop, maybe start getting some normal things going here. I've already sort of messed up castling on this side. This side, not yet really, but like, okay. Anyway, a lot of bad stuff in this. They moved out their pawn to attack me, which they've been doing all game. This is something, people sometimes at this level, they just relentless attack, and they don't, and it works for them at sometimes. And sometimes you do want to do that, but they're not like setting up any kind of backbone or whatever. And this is probably the type of person also who does the aggressive queen. But so they attack that. Now this is mate in one. This is a smothered mate, which I've seen videos on, and I don't believe I've ever actually done one myself. It's one of those things where you sort of have to have the right setup of where the knight is, and usually a queen or something with it. But this is a smothered mate. The king cannot advance to here because it's in check, so that's game over. That would have been an amazing 13-move checkmate for me. This is not a smothered mate because it hangs the horse. And the move I chose to do was not a smothered mate either. I apparently didn't look for checks. I just brought it out over here, maybe thinking to double back around on the. I don't know. I really don't know. Again, this is not a stellar play by me at all. So I missed a smothered mate. Of course, they came out and attacked my horse. I withdrew it to the rim, to the wall. And by the way, what do they say? Horses on the rim are dim. I believe that's what they say. And Magnus Carlson blundered a bishop the other day, forgetting about a horse on the rim. Just flat out blundered it. If you ever want to feel better about yourself as a chess player. So they brought out the queen. I brought out the bishop, looking to castle. No development. So I'm like stuck here in the lower third of the board, completely almost symmetric. They're sort of pushed out, but at this point, they've harassed me on almost every move I've done from the get-go. Okay, so here I decided my piece is not developed. I got nowhere to go on the whites on this side, so just go ahead and do an exchange. So I did that. Because usually getting your rook out off the back row in the early going is not a great idea, unless it goes back. But so I went in and castled, and that was a terrible move, apparently, because, well, they just didn't like it. I think because you've got all these pawns storming, and this horse may get trapped. I'm not sure. They really didn't like it. I mean, I've gotten rid of both their bishops, by the way, already. They've gotten rid of a bishop and a horse. They really didn't like that one, the computer. So they continue, then they're coming and continuing with the pawns. Now, I'm locked. Like, nothing can move. This can move to here, or here, which would have been a good idea. This can't move. This can move to there or back. And then these pawns. That's it. Like, I'm penned in. I think in retrospect, yeah, and then so when I look at bringing the queen here, you're like, well, can't move there, can't move there. Maybe the queen to there. You want to get the queen off the back row so these are connected. Not too early, but you do want to. So I decided, okay, bring this up here. That's safe for now. They push the pawn. I guess, predictable. So they hung the pawn, actually. If the pawn is retaken with the rook, but it wasn't. They withdrew the knight. If the pawn was retaken with the rook, they hung that, and I'm exposed there. So now a little bit of room's clearing up. So I assume I brought the knight back out now into this empty space, trying to create some space. I mean, they've got me. We're really jammed up with pawns. They bring the queen over. This is danger, you know, when the queen's on this, and you got nothing left over there to protect it with. I withdrew the knight. If I had gone, yeah, see, because if I had gone here, then it could take, and I couldn't retake as a check. So, oops. So I moved the knight to there. Again, nice protected square at least. They bring the pawn up to boot that. And I guess the knight does look like a walk of shame there, because if I went there, the queen would get it. There, the pawn would get. There, the pawn would get. So they're really harassing me with these pawns, right? Actually, effectively, but pawn again, and they just swung back the game my way by relieving the pressure, and I've got 2 on 1, so I'm going to win 2 pawns. But then they've got that. I guess it just opened it up too much for them. It looks like an even exchange, but at this point I would happily take it. Now, for some reason, I opened it up that way. Oh, I'm sorry, and the knight covers that square. I should have opened it up that way to protect this side more. So, but I completely exposed the rook there. Maybe I was thinking, okay, I can hit that, but I think in general I would have been better off taking it this way, and that, and that. But that looks like a much more manageable. Now I got the yeah. So I wasn't on my form. This is a really poor game. Okay, so I did the swap that way. They did this. They kept going. They kept going. So now they're bringing out a horse, and I'm like, finally I can do something with my bishop. I'm not sure why I didn't put the bishop there to pin that, but I think I saw that this was a real danger over here, especially with a pawn coming too, like a serious danger. So I brought that out and tried to, you know, bait him into taking it. If they took that, I take that, but you know, just like a stopgap measure. They brought the horse over, which may have been what they were planning. So they're threatening the bishop now. I withdraw 1. They decide to castle. It's to get this rook involved, but it's just funny with nothing there. It's to get this rook involved. But this is so open over here. I start trying to bring the queen up to defend. I'm starting to get in a bit of a pickle here. But also, look at this with this queen. If I can weather this storm, there's going to be hell to pay. They double up the rooks. I'm like, oh no, they're going to checkmate me. Move that up there to try to slow it down, the train, but because there's 2 of them, it doesn't really slow it down. And because I can't take that. Okay, so here, they're saying push this pawn as one idea, but also just bring the queen down and put him in check. Also sack, or try halting it with that, but it's not looking good here. Well, I moved the queen. I mean, I just straight up moved the king out of the way. I think was the best thing I could think of at the time, and I was maybe hoping to get it back down here. I don't know. This is really bad. So they had mate in 2, but they missed it. The mate in here was bring the queen down, check, bring the king back, checkmate. They missed it. They went for take my bishop. So now they're up just a knight. We're really kind of even material-wise. I mean, they're up a knight. but I can retake with a pawn. Now, this was a mistake because it opens up this file for the queen. But you don't want to retake with the queen because the horse takes. But what you do want to do is retake with that. And then you're basically back in the game, almost. But I think this horse I was dim to this horse, and I took with the pawn. Now they have mate in 1. Checkmate. Boom. Because check, 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 check. That's checkmate. Whoops, they missed it. They again tried with the rook. The rooks, send in the rooks. So I think I only had 1 square to go to here, which is there. They took my queen. I mean, this is why they moved the rook down. I'm sorry. They moved the rook down because they're like, aha, I'm going to get the queen. But you also could have had the game over. So anyway, so I moved out of the way. They got my queen, but I got the rook. So now we basically here it enters the end game in my view, and it because of where all the pawns are and the rooks. So it's like a queen and 2 knights against two rooks and a knight, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. We each have 5 pawns. That one's isolated, I guess you could say. I guess you could say my pawn structure is a little better, but then hers is more advanced. My queen's off the back, theirs isn't. But computer's showing it a huge advantage for white. But most people on our level, this to me is an end game, and most people on our level, unless you really know what you're doing with the knights, it's tricky either way. I mean, look what Magnus Carlson does to people. They come down and put me in check. I block. They threaten that. I go, that doesn't look like much of a thing. I'll bring my knight out, my rook over. I got doubled rooks now. They start pushing the pawns. And I go, not today. They push a different pawn. Now, I assume I took this one, because that would be the smart one. Yes. I took that, so now I've got a pass pawn. They took that one. So I took that. So now they do have this pawn, but now I have a defender on. So in my view, they did that pawn move terribly. But it's hard to say exactly. There's a lot of things you can do here when there's all these different pieces. They checked me with the pawn because of the knight. I think this blockade was really stymieing some of their creative juices. So I withdrew it. They start bringing the king over, or the king over, going after my pawn. I said, not today. So I extricate my knight from the situation, but that leads to an exchange. But now my pawns are protected. So now we're down to 2 rooks versus queen and knight. And I've actually 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got a pawn advantage now. But they're still showing massive lead for the opponent. So now they start bringing their pass pawn down. This is the big concern. If they can, now they they extricate the queen. But they left that pawn hanging. And so once they did that, once I moved up, I'm sorry. I moved up 1, they moved that, I go pawn gobble. So now I've actually got like a chain here, a decent chain in these two. I actually think this is... this looks pretty good from this perspective, but the computer doesn't for advanced endgame players. They check me, I slide over. They check me, I slide over. I think I would have taken a draw at this point. They bring the king up. The king can't take that. And I say, I'm going to have to gobble that one. They've been letting me gobble pawns or gobble that. They got scared and withdrew, or were planning something, but I gobbled it. So now I'm up 3 pawns, and it's two rooks versus queen and knight. And now we're on move 47. Okay, so they bring the queen over. I start here. I'm like, well, I got to finally do something with these rooks. The best play was here, which I guess I did, because you can't move here, it would take it. So I went over here, and that, of course, that pawn's loose right now. They gobbled a pawn. And when the king is like this with pawns around it, it's actually kind of safe, even in regular, like non-endgame, especially if they're in front of it. And you can sort of shuffle them along together. Okay, so now we're back to like a 1.7 game, so it's almost back to even. And they gobbled my pawn, so now it's 2-1. But I got that pawn. King can't take it. If the queen does, it's a sacrifice, and it's down to a... Okay, so when I went here, if they take with that, I take with that, they take with that. It's down to, I mean, that would be tough. I might actually win that. So I went into that. They backed off. I checked. I'm like, well, I'm going to check you. What I needed to be doing was looking to get this up out of the way, but they moved back. So I'm going to check you again. Now, who's the one putting the pressure on now? They moved back. I said, I'm going to check you again. But I hung my rook. So now it's a queen and a knight against a rook and 2 pawns. I bring the rook over. I'm like, I'm getting the hell out of here. It's plus 52 for them. They bring the knight. I say, aha, check. They say, blocked by the knight. I say, aha, I pinned you. You're pinned. You can't move that knight. I can figure out something to do then. They bring the queen. And when the king moves, that is a X-ray on my rook. So now I'm down to 2 pawns. And I'm sort of just hoping for a draw. Now I'm not really hoping for anything, but so they're manipulating me around, and I honestly don't remember all these moves. I mean, we're up to like 70 moves by now, and you can see it says mate and 2, mate and 3 a lot. Mate and 3, 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 mate and 2, mate and 4. Now I'm down to 26 seconds, and they're at 51. So this has taken a while. Some of this, so the time is starting to become a concern. But they're playing like every 2 seconds. It looks like. Okay, so if we go back, let's just see where okay, so the mate 2 here was king over, and then I have to move. So I have to move either here. I can't move there. That's check. Now it might be hard to see that though for somebody, but and they only have 57 seconds, but this is like with the stalemate. Okay, so my king doesn't have many spots. This is the only spot it can move to. So if you're aware of that and you move there, then my king has to move to that spot, and then this is checkmate. But they didn't do that. They kept sort of trying to chase, and this thing got stuck over here. Now we're on move 83. I'm just shuffling along the side, and they stalemated me. They brought the it was mate and 4 here. They needed to get this back into the game, I think, or keep me down here with this somewhere. So when they did that, the king is not in check, but it can't move there. Check, can't move there. So so I got to draw out of it. So that wonderful game of 85 moves between 2 chess masters that had a smothered mate, mate and 1, mate and 2, some big swings, ended in a draw, stalemate. All right, thanks, folks. Appreciate you watching, enjoying the videos, subscribing, commenting. Thanks. Have a good one.